Welcome to another Plan 6 parts video. Today's video, Spitfire seat cover installation, part 2. So in part 1, I show you how to basically strip the seat covers off. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start putting them together. So there's a few different ways you can do this actually. Well, theoretically there's 2 different ways. So regarding the frame itself, you get cardboard with it. So this kit should come with a foam. We're going to do just the base on this one, so everyone knows in part 3 with the top half, because that alone well, you need a bag of patience for that. What we're going to do with this is, it comes with the cardboard, and you're supposed to basically shape it to sit in. So ideally what we'll do is we'll put it in here, and then we'll start layering up as we go along. However, I already done a set, and I done it differently the last time. I actually took the foam, and I actually stuck it to it. So I actually done this first to make sure that the foam made it all the way down. If it didn't, then I had the support. Now you could do that, but this time I'm going to try the other way around to see if it works any better. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. So here we have the bottom cage to the seat. Now obviously I haven't restored this. I basically just stripped it down, give it a bit of a wear and a bit of paint to make sure there's no rust, and that's it. So I haven't gone through the whole rigmarole of restoring it. So we get our board, we're going to fold it and put it in shape. There is a tall section, there is a bottom section, there's a curved and there's a flat. So it's pretty, if you look at it, it's a bit self-explanatory. This goes to the short end, this follows up, and this just lies flat. So you bend it, and just slot it in. That's it. That's that part done. Alright, here's the next part. This is where you can chop and change it a little. So, regarding the cover itself, here comes the cover. What I do, and again, there's probably different ways of doing it, is I like to turn mine inside out. You see why I do a lot of them with the tier 6 seat covers as well, and all. When I go to put them together, I always turn them inside out first. I'll do it with the top half, and you'll see why it's very important to do it actually, because it'll save you so much time. Now with the kit I get, now depending on where you get your kit from, which vendor you use from, if you get them from me here in Plan 6, it will look like this. This is what you'll get from me. This is pre-marked. This is marked for this to sit here. Right, as you can see it's shaped. However, if it's not, there is a lip. There's a lip back here, and this simply sits in the lip. Simple as that. And then what will happen is this will go up, and that's basically where the cage sits in here as well. Alright? But it doesn't have to be right dug in, but there is a mark for it. Now, what I've done with the last one as well is I'm going to do the same with this. If you've ever seen the ones I've done with the tier 6, is this one, when you usually glue this down, but this kit comes with the tiniest little piece of fabric. Like it's so small I don't even know why they put it on. Like it seems a bit useless. However, what I'm going to do I'm going to do the same as what I normally do with the rest of them, is that this normally you'd put this straight down. I'm going to have it underneath. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this upside down. I'll put my seat cover in. I know it's hard to see. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this to here so it stays underneath it. And the reason why, again, is that when you put it down, it's under this and it keeps it pushed down so it doesn't raise up. So when it's under it, I'm getting a bit lost here where I am. It will stay underneath the foam and keep this front nose piece of nose down. Alright, so now I have to. God, the foam's getting everywhere. Turn around, and now I'm going to spray this part on. No spray. If I'm using the table to put on, if you use the table here, what I like to do is I like to use some brake cleaner. It's great for getting glue off your hands, and it's also great when you spray. If you get it on the table, spray it, clean it, and then it gets all the glue off. It's pretty handy. make sure it's the right way around. We'll look at it a few times and still almost got it wrong. This is why, because now I'm touching the glue, my hands are going to get awful sticky. So I'll leave it there for a second. I said it just helps, so when I flip it back around and put it down, it just keeps this palm down. So before my hands get too sticky, what about bracing? Oh no, oh there it is. Hang on, I'll get my brake and I'll away for that. Some probably think I'm not doing this, but it's great for getting glue off your hands. Alright, so now we've that done. So now I have this done. Flip it around. And now I can. You have a choice here. And this is optional. You could glue this to here to make sure it stays down. That's an option. I didn't do it with the last one. I was debating whether to do it with this one so I could keep the edges right out. I don't think there's a need to, because I had to do the other one that turned out pretty good. Let me show you. Hope you can see. There's the other one I've done. And the bottom half of it here turned out pretty good. So let me figure. Turned out pretty good and plush without gluing it this time. So I think I'm going to do the same. Let me sure the camera goes back to the right spot. So I'm going to do the same. I'm not going to glue it down. So now what I am going to do is I'm going to glue these together. The thing I find with this glue is that you always seem to have to glue both sides. Like if I just sprayed this one and left just this one alone, it doesn't stick. You have to really do both ends. It's like the glue only sticks with salt in one way. Alright, lovely. Now, what I'm trying to do is I'm looking down the line just to have it sit as best I can on the line. I'm pushing this down onto the foam first, just before it completely sets. Keep it below, and then I'll put the foam right over it. Because what I'm doing is on the little, what do you call it there, where do you overlap each other? I can't think of the word now. No, there's a train again, good God. Thank you, it's two of them. Alright. So to me the important part of this is getting this down and getting it to stay flat on the bottom. So when you do pull it, it stays, it's basically, you want to keep this part down because that's the only part that will ruin the seat. And then the same goes to the TR6 when you do that. You find the middle of it always lifts up and it looks terrible until eventually sits down, but that's why I like to glue it and keep it down like that. And here's something else. The door is open, so it's pretty noisy here today. So now I have that. Now I'm going to fold it over. And again, here's where we're looking at is that we want to try keep this. You want to try keep this on this side to make sure the foam is in the middle to keep the raise or the plushness up here. Right? So when you're folding it over, you want to make sure you get it over that lip, or the I just can't think of the word of it now. Seam. There we go. Here's where we just have to play around with it a bit to try push the foam up into to try stop the creases in the foam and let it expand back out. Again, I'm making sure that this seam is over. And the same with this one. The foam is in behind it. Crease up here. There we go. A little crease up here. Start massaging the foam. Looking good there, so I think I got them creases out pretty okay. Now, here's the next option you can do, is you can choose to put a bit of spray in here. I've done it with the other one, and I just kept it to keep this part nice and smooth. So what I've done was I lifted it up, I put a bit of spray here, and I just made sure that it came over to keep it smooth here before I pull it any further. Now, before you go a little further than that, what we're going to do is look at the back of this. So just lift it up a bit. And you see there is a little tail that sticks up. So there's too much foam here because it hangs back a bit. Now we're going to trim that, but I'm not going to trim it to here. I'm actually going to leave more. And the reason why is that it will come over and it gives a bit more fluff or plush if you leave that extra piece. However, the point is going to end up looking terrible. So I'm just going to get a blade. I'm going to trim this, but not all of it. So I'm basically taking the corner off it, so hopefully you can see me. You can see I just followed it around, but I left it out a bit, and you'll see when I put it over why I left it a little bit. Make sure I don't cut the seat covers. So now the two edges are down here, because when I pull this back in, it just gives that little bit more to fill in here without it too much, because then it ends up like out of shape. But if you were to if you were to cut that right in, there'd be too much room and it'd be loose, to say the word. So now I need a bit more spray glue at the back here. So I'm making sure this is all the way down to the back. So I'm running out of foam or spray. Hopefully it's enough to finish this, which there should be, to finish the bottom half, and I'll have to buy more before I do the top. That 3M stuff is pretty good. This is the worst part, is waiting for this. I hope you can see me actually. I'm holding it too high. Alright. So now that's in, I will shift that up a bit. So now when the tail end or something, when this comes over, now it meets up and it has a nice bit of flushness to here. It's not too shallow. Now that's like that. The next part is actually just sit it straight into the basket. There's a basket. Again, it can only really go in one way, so plump. Just hang on a second. Hold on. This part looks like it's sitting up a tiny bit. What it is? So some spray never made it down there. There is other foam, so while I'm waiting for this to dry, there's this spray adhesive here as well. I used to use this when I first got it. You get that Lego Rona. It actually is good. Don't get me wrong, it's good, but it takes forever to get sticky. I think you have to wait, 2 minutes when you spray it, 2-3 minutes to get tacky before you can actually stick something to it. That's the only part I don't like about it. This looks better. Alright, now back to the cage. So now, the last time I said, I sprayed this to this and I stuck it to it to make it easier. So this time I'm going to do it the opposite way and see how it turns out. See if it fits any better. So, the cage itself, you want it to come down and under, I should say, the cover has to go over. This is why I stuck it down the last time, because if it's going to be upside down, it's going to fall. What's the point in leaving it loose? I might as well stick it so at least I know it's stuck to the foam. So do you know what? I'm going to go back and do that again. Do exactly what I've done the first time. It worked out good, so there's no reason to change it. And now I'm going to go with a different spray. Spray me. This one's dripping. So this is the one you have to wait, and it says it on it. You have to wait. I think it was a minute or two. Allow dry for 3 to 5 minutes before joining. Yeah, 3 to 5 minutes. You have to wait for it to get tacky. great. So I don't really want to wait that long. So I'm gonna mix and match with some spray really. So we'll see what happens here. Ooh, between the two of them, it's sticky. Right. Right, now they want to spray again. Alright, so now that should be stuck down, even with the other one, even though it's a time limit, I swap them around. I'm going to put the cage back on. So I want to show you the lip, as I said at the front. Down here, hopefully you can see there is a little lip where the foam comes out. The cage goes in under here, right? So you have to put it in and lift the cage, and that sits over, and that's the very front of this. Hopefully you can see it. I'm hoping I'm not doing this and realizing the camera's out of shot. You don't have to cut any of the foam in there, just let it sit down. So it says when you drop this down, this should sit right all the way down. But you can see it doesn't. And it didn't the last time with me. But when you turn it upside down and somebody basically puts their posterior in there, it's going to go down. And it will make it down to the bottom, and it'll probably eventually create the shape down there. So now we have that done. The next thing we're going to do is actually tack it down. So we have to attach this to here. So I said it has the option where you said you could glue it to the side. I did the last time, but this time I won't, to see if it works out any better. But the other important thing is not to overstretch this, because if you pull this too much, then you're going to end up losing your lift on the bottom seat. So only go as far as it needs to go without pulling it too far. This one should be here. And what we're going to do is we're going to start tacking it along here first to make sure I have something to hold it down. Just make sure you're happy with it first before you start pulling it in. Okay, so what we do to hold this on under the TR6s is we need these little clamps. The little clamps, you need this tool. So you can buy this at most like tack shops or whatever. In fact, this is a Power Fist, so probably more likely by the sounds of it, I got it from Princess Auto. So the clamp sits in, pull it over and just squeeze it tight. It's pretty easy peasy, lemon squeezy. The only thing I don't like about it is that you're piercing through the fabric. That's the only thing I don't like about it, but that's where it's meant to be. More trains. Now, the amount of them you want to put on this is oh no, you could put 3 or 4, but to be honest, I put more of them. And the reason why I put more is that the more that's on it, each one is not taking a strain. So with every one that goes on it, it's ripping into the fabric. Did I happen to? I did. Silly me. The bar going along, I managed to find the bar. The bar underneath is doubled up there, and I happened to find it without going right around it. So. But I overdo them just because I want to make sure the more I put on it, like I said, it is, since it rips through the fabric, I want to make sure that's not, each one is, the more you put on, it's the stress. So each one takes less and less. This one, I find personally, and again, it depends on how you do it, I find it easier to put this one onto the inside bar. So the inside bar here, just to bring it around here. And it keeps it running in to keep this pulled nice and tight. So I won't put too many on it because I'm gonna add more later on. So otherwise this video will never end. So this side we're going to look at again. We don't want to over pull it, just enough, see where we go. And what I'm probably going to do now with this one is I'll just quickly check which rail I've done on first. I'm pretty sure I went into the second. Yeah, I went in on this one. I'm pretty sure I didn't make it up that far. So just enough. If in doubt, you should do, and do you know what, my own worst enemy, so I should have looked at my own video when I took it apart and know exactly where they went. But I don't mind under it. So the difference, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to underlap it, or should I say underlap it to keep it, and again it keeps the line not pulled in too much, and I'll just keep it straight along here. You thought the video was long when I took it apart the first time with snapping all these off. Now as for the back should reach up here, so just push down. Make sure this foam is on the inside here, and just push down. And then obviously what I'll start with this one is I'll start right in the middle, and I'll make life easier on the corners as well. So once I get a good overlap. And this is why I put a lot of them on it. If you just left one, it's putting an awful strain on it, and there's a good chance the vinyl will rip, or leather, whatever cover you do decide to get. If you do these in leather, I'm not sure. I'll go to the other side. Don't want to pull it too much because then Again, you lose that plushness the more you pull. Even though it's nice and stretched, you lose that plush when you overstretch it. Now, I'll do this in 2 stages. I'm going to do the first one, and then I'll overlap this one because this one is on top. So first. Again, you don't have to follow it this way. It's whatever way you've done it yourself to suit. I'm just going to put, like I said, a good few on it, because the more I put on it, the less likely it is to rip it here. I might get a better grip doing it this one. So if you have a bit of a hang like that, a little bit, and you think you may see it sticking out, just put more on it. As long as it's in underneath, you're not going to see it. So obviously the front is the last to go. Almost out of clips. Well, loads of them. Now here's where you have a choice. So for this one, you have a choice, because these clamps here go forward and back, and that's what basically holds it onto the frame. You can put a slit in if you want, or you don't have to, as long as it sits underneath, and you can pull it over and then put another clamp on it when the seat's done together. The last time we put a slit, this time I'm not. I'm going to see if it works out any better. The only thing about it is, though, it's hard just to clamp it in until these slide back, and that's why I put the slit in. So I just basically just put a little slit across and allowed me to tuck it down first. Again, this is going to be a choice whatever way you want to do it. For this one, I'm going to try a little different. Just going to clamp in a different spot. But again, it's a little irrelevant underneath. It's a little irrelevant where it goes, but I want to see, is it easier? Or does it look a lot better when I do it that way? I lost that one. So I'll leave them there, and like I said, allows me to slip it on. And when I put it on, then this will come over, and then once it's over, I'll put another one in here to keep it down there. So the other one I just put a slit, it's a little relevant. So that's basically it for this section. And you can see it's nice. It's nice and plush. Like I said, you didn't have to do this. And I'm not too worried about here, because like I said, eventually wear and tear sitting in will eventually push it down. And that's it. The important thing is to make sure you get the edges right, so you don't end up with the crease and just to force out the creases. So yeah, that's it. Turned out nice and well. Thanks very much for watching. As usual, any comments, questions, concerns, give me a shout and I'll try to help you out as best I can. And I look forward to seeing you in part 3, where I tackle the top end, which is a bit of a nightmare. So thanks for watching.